What is going on, guys? It's your boy Sly Geordie, and welcome back to another episode of F1 23 My Team Career Mode. And today's episode is all about the Miami Grand Prix. So this is my first Miami Grand Prix. I've only driven on this track in our very first live stream on this game, so on a time trial. I've never actually done a race around Miami, not even online. So yeah, this is going to be my very first experience of that. But last episode, if you missed it, it was an absolute disaster in Baku. We had just the wrong setup entirely. We DNF'd, we just crashed out on the sprint, and we just gave up towards the end of the actual race itself. We wanted to save the car. We didn't want any more engine wear with 4 laps to go. So it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy season. It's been really, you know, mixed. Sometimes we do really bad, like at Bahrain. Then we do really good at Jeddah, by our standards, seeing as though we are one of the worst cars on the grid. The worst if you actually just look at the R&D chart. But we're not the slowest, at least I don't think so, mainly because we're mainly at the bottom because of durability. So that's something we definitely need to improve, as you can see right here. Same with the chassis. But yeah, we've also had some really good times, like at Melbourne, where we got the 7th place, which was great. So we got 6 points on the board so far going into Miami, and of course we got a little bit of a point to prove. We want to redeem ourselves for what happened at Baku. We're making some upgrades here as well, so we've got upgrades in each department ready to come through. We don't know when those are coming. I assume maybe some of them will come at the next episode, Imola, maybe some past that as well. But yeah, obviously we're going to skip the Pirelli hot lap again. There's no way I'm doing that. And we're just going to go straight to the race weekend at the Miami Grand Prix. I'm really excited to do this. And Miami's always been one of my favorite locations aesthetically in the world. Same with Las Vegas. So it's always really cool to, you know, see both locations now have a track in the F1 game. It's amazing. Next stop, Tokyo. We need a track, we need a street circuit in Tokyo. Can we get that, please? But yeah, Drugovich lets us go as we're about to start our first lap in Q1. I actually made my own setup for this one. I looked online for a little bit, you know, at just to see what the meta was, and I ended up taking that setup and testing it out. And obviously it wasn't exactly to my liking, so I changed it a little bit here and there, just a little bit on the aero side of things, more to my liking. And in a lot of ways it still wasn't enough to get round some of the corners, especially on harder compounds, but with the soft tyres it was all alright. It was this corner right here, this section, that was always a little bit tricky for me, but everywhere else was quite okay. So yeah, so far so good. We're wanting to get somewhere near the points, obviously, or at least, you know, at least halfway to the points. You know, 15th. We're wanting to get out of Q1 is what I'm trying to say. You know, I don't really mind if we don't get out of Q2, whatever happens there, unless it's some BS, then obviously, you know. But getting out of Q1 is the main motive here, as Felipe Drugovich is also right behind us doing his laps. I don't think he'll make it out of Q1. For some reason the F2 AI is just really bad. And honestly, I really think they should get an upgrade, because this year Oscar Piastri, for example, is doing great, you know. So it's possible for them to do well, and I think Drugovich should definitely have a better stat than Oscar Piastri, because Drugovich is the reigning champ. But anyway, we come round the final corner, half corner, and as Max Verstappen is out of the session in Q1, I don't know how that happens, but it's good enough for P11 as we go into our second lap. It was a P6 until a bunch of other people started doing their laps. So yeah, honestly, I'm quite happy with this. As it stands, we're going through, and we want to go for our second lap now. Hopefully this is good. Obviously, it's not looking good. I think I'm still working on the scuff set of tyres. I don't think I put on a new set of tyres for this, or maybe I did. I don't know. But we're in the green delta right now as we go through this track. once again. I actually really do like Miami. Like with Jeddah, I'm a bit iffy here and there. Like Jeddah's kind of fun to do, but like once you do it for long distances, it gets really boring. It's a very boring track for like 35% races onwards, or even 25% races onwards. Because I've been playing a lot on multiplayer recently. Because a lot of people, they like to do Jeddah, but I'm just not one of those people, you know. For a 5-lap race, yeah, lovely, but Jeddah does get a little bit boring. But yeah, Miami's not like that. I actually really do like Miami as a track. I know some people don't like having Miami as a track, but I do. I think it's a pretty good track. And we're doing pretty good, although this section, yep, going over the curbs, and it does cost us quite a lot of time, and it's a lot of time that I don't think we can make up neither. So we just gotta hope that our original time was good enough, because otherwise we're going to be out in Q1, which is not good. As we go, we dive a little deep there behind Esteban Ocon, and yeah, this isn't enough. By a whole 10th, we're not going to make that, so we're just going to have to hope, and we actually do make it to Q2 in P13, so we're quicker than a lot of people that we want to be quicker than at this point, so you can't really complain about it. But what I can complain about is the conditions and the fact we're on the soft tyre compound. The game recommended that we're on the soft tyre compound, so I was thinking, oh, the track isn't so damp just yet. And obviously the track gets more damp and wet as we go on, and some people got their big laps in, whereas I went out a little later, I think, because it was I knew it was raining, so I wanted to double check to see if the soft compound was the best decision. And to my dismay, a lot of people actually got in their laps before I did. You know, so they were able to get onto the dry lines, and we weren't able to, you know. Like, obviously we get a decent lap round here, but it's not decent enough, you know. The track is just a little too wet at this point to be as fast as the people in front of us, you know. And it's just a little bit of bad luck. As you can see, we're slipping a little bit there, drifting around that corner. Pretty nice though. I wish I'd have viewed the race replay. Obviously, I've discovered on last gen, or maybe it's a PC exclusive thing, I don't know, but on last gen you can't actually save the full race replay at the end, unfortunately. So obviously that's why my presentation isn't as good as Arava's, for example, because yeah, he's able to save the full race replay and then go through it afterwards. And I guess we could do that as well, but it just takes a lot longer. Maybe I will do it for like season 2 or something like that, but for now I just want to have as much fun as I can. Sorry for the brief cut there. Obviously PlayStation has a bit of an issue, and at this point, like, the higher the storage gets in terms of the capture gallery, the worse the footage is. Obviously it's not the worst it's ever been. I think it gets really bad on Need for Speed. Hopefully the PS5 doesn't have that issue when I move on to that console, and if it does, yeah, we're just gonna have to somehow deal with it. But you know, it's quite bearable. Again, it's not as bad as it was at some points, so I guess it all depends on how optimized and how stable the game is, because with Need for Speed Heat, for example, that game isn't very well optimized. It's a fantastic game, one of the best Need for Speeds ever in my opinion, but it's not very well optimized. So you know, we weren't able to get good recordings in anymore after a certain PlayStation update. I think it was around the time the PS4 came out, or not too long before that. But yeah, our lap was good enough for 12th, and yeah, I just really didn't know what to do at this point. We were in P16, and so we would have to go for another lap, this time on intermediates. So off we go, out for a flying lap, hoping to improve just a little bit. We are in P16 on the inters. The rain is definitely a lot worse now. You can actually see the rain droplets on the car. And yeah, we are completely dead last in Q2. And I have a sneaking suspicion that everybody ahead of me was able to be on the softs. And I guess that's where the AI would sort of have the advantage. They would, I guess they would have the opportunity to completely judge well when the rain is going to stop, when the track is good enough for softs, good enough for slicks. But yeah, we're on the Inters now, hoping to improve on our lap time, and I don't think we'll be able to improve that much, or if at all. But honestly, I think I should have given it more of a chance, because obviously the second half of the track was when the track was getting more wet in terms of the softs, especially this corner. We gained so much time through the Mickey Mouse chicane that we're like almost a second above our original lap time, which is absolutely crazy. So we've put in a really good lap on these Inters compared to our original lap on the softs. But is it good enough to make it through to Q3? We made it through to Q3 in Melbourne, so we know the car is capable of it on certain tracks. We are well over a second ahead of our original lap time. And where are we going to end up? We make no improvement. We're actually still a second and a half behind, and that is because everybody else got a lap out on the softs before it got too wet. So regardless of how good that lap was compared to our first one, people were just there before us, and unfortunately we are knocked out at qualifying 2. It does suck, but the main objective was to just make it to Q2. So hopefully we can get a good start. Hopefully we can have a good race and make it further ahead. But yeah, a lot of those laps were definitely on the softs, no doubt about it.
Welcome to the Magic City. We're here at the Miami International Autodrome, the home of the Hard Rock Stadium, a multi-purpose sports and entertainment hub which has hosted Super Bowls, Baseball World Series, numerous rock concerts, and of course, as of 2022, Formula One. Sitting at the southeastern coast of Florida, the Miami International Autodrome has 19 corners and 3.36 miles of racing. It's a circuit designed to encourage close racing while meeting the highest safety standards. Either way, I'm sure it's one that will please the fans. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ocon, Zhou, Perez, Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Norris, Stroll, Magnussen, Gasly, Bottas, Hülkenberg, Sainz, Oscar Piastri, Tsunoda, De Vries, Sargent, Drugovich, Verstappen, Drugovich. With preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once more by Anthony Davidson. Why don't we start by discussing Alex Albon? Looks like they have a tough race in store today, as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
Everyone has to deal with penalties or reliability issues from time to time throughout their career. You just have to suck up the pain and get on with the job at hand. Today isn't about performing a miracle to put the car back where it should be. It's about effective damage limitation.
So, a few surprises down the order around us here. Carlos Sainz is down here. Of course, Max Verstappen was knocked out in Q1, and the only reason he's not last is because of Alex Albon. He's got a penalty, which is great for us, because Alex Albon has had a bit of a rivalry with us for these last few episodes, and obviously we need to beat Bottas in this race as well. But Verstappen being behind us, that sounds a bit scary. I wonder how quickly he's going to rise up the order. I wonder what even happened to him in Q1. I never really found out. Maybe he crashed out, maybe his engine failed. I don't think though. I don't think so, because I'm pretty sure I turned that feature off. Obviously I might turn it back on at some point, but it just doesn't sound fun to me to have that, and I just want to have fun with the game, you know? I don't want it to be fully simulation, because, you know, we could have really stressful seasons. But yeah, here we go. The beginning of the race, and it's a decent start. Yeah, it's a very good start actually. The AI are just not good at starting on this year's edition. Hopefully they improve it at some point. We're going to dive down the inside a little bit of contact with K-Mag, and we do get an FIA warning, and obviously we get a warning from our engineer as well, because we're reaching high levels of engine wear. We haven't replaced any parts just yet, unless you count the gearbox that we got a penalty for in Baku. Obviously, we were going to start last anyway, so, you know, there was no reason not to just get the extra gearbox, because that will help us later in the season. But it's a pretty good start. We're in P11, so from P16 to P11, the good thing about the AI not being good at race starts is that we can gain a lot of positions at the start, and that'll be whatever difficulty, you know? Because I don't know why they've made them so bad. Maybe this was Cody's way of nerfing the AI straight speed. I don't know, but all I know is that the game is a lot better than prior games, and I'm not even talking 22. I think this is better than 2020. They just need to polish it up a bit, get rid of some of the bugs. Speaking of bugs, I wasn't able to get a My Team episode out for a while because I wasn't even I wasn't able to record at all. It doesn't affect any of these, but it would have affected the next episode onwards if I weren't able to fix the glitch. And that's if you start a driver career in F2. Bit of a ram up Stroll's back of his car there. Very lucky not to receive any damage. But yeah, basically, if you started a driver career in F2, your other saves in F1 wouldn't work until you basically completed F2. And if you tried to delete that F2 save or tried to start another save, so my team save, I couldn't get on it, the game would just straight up crash. So basically, if you've experienced a similar issue, be sure to just finish your F2 portion, and then your saves would work as intended. But now we come up the back of Lance Stroll here, and he's on the hard tyres. He is fighting us here, definitely trying to squeeze us to the outside here, but we are going to be the last to break. And yeah, it's P9. We also got an overtake on Magnussen at some point as well. One I didn't mention, it was while we hit Stroll in the back of his car. Very lucky to not lose any parts of the front there, but yeah, we end up getting some clean air. Obviously Stroll pulls in us a little bit, he's got DRS, but Lando Norris has also got DRS on Fernando Alonso, so we're not able to catch up. But as we come around this corner, the whole grid has come to a bit of a halt, up to 4th. I think Guan Yu Zhou and Esteban Ocon had a bit of an altercation. I think they may have spun out, and we've actually managed to drive around them, and we've gotten ourselves a genuine P4 as Ocon, Hamilton, etc. they pit behind us. They've got damage. So we've got a P4, so we've now got a decision to make. 4 laps into a 14-lap race. I actually tried to go on the instant replay just to see what happened. I think we'd gone too far. But yeah, there was a massive altercation. Even behind us, people had to stop. Like Drugovich is there behind Albon, I assume, or maybe it's Sargent, who knows. I'm guessing it's Albon. But yeah, we've managed to get ourselves a genuine P4. That is absolutely insane. I cannot believe my luck, to be quite honest with you. And this is the first time something like this has ever happened to me. I know in the last few years of the F1 game, this has become a lot more common. But again, the last one I played was 2020. And not once during that entire one season of My Team I played on that one, not once did something like this happen. This is absolutely crazy, and I'm so glad I'm getting events like this happening in my YouTube series for My Team. It is absolutely awesome. So I got a decision to make. Do we stay on the mediums, or do we have an early pit for softs? If we can get an early pit, we could probably get a head start in front of people ahead. And you know, some people ahead have actually pitted. The top 3 have pitted, and so I'm going to pit myself. And half the grid actually pits with me as well. It is absolutely crazy. Hamilton goes on, of course. Same with Ocon, Tsunoda, Alonso, Hulkenberg, etc. Because I think all of them have already pit. And we have a decent pit stop, 2.9 seconds. I don't think we've actually upgraded them at this point. Or maybe the upgrades have arrived. I think we did it last episode. So maybe they had arrived by this point. It's been a few days since I did this episode. But yeah, this is absolutely incredible. We've got a genuine P4. Like, in the pits. We came out the pits still in P4. Hamilton's caught up, of course. He's in 6th. Nick de Vries is behind us, which is great news. Even with our engine wear, I think we've got a good chance to actually keep P4 here. And de Vries if he really wants to keep that position, he could hold up Hamilton. So we could actually stay in P4. Hell, we could shoot for the stars, you know, because of this safety car. We could actually even, you know, come on, like go for Perez, and this is what I hate about the safety car. This has been a problem for a while now, where you can get brake checked by the AI. Obviously, half of that was my fault. I was looking behind me, but on a massive straight like that, why are you braking so hard? I don't get it. And obviously, I look around the car. They've knocked Perez knocked a little our side left wing off, a little bit of that. That part flies off so easily. It's actually really frustrating how easy that part comes off, and we're going to try and overtake Perez. Little hit on the back of Russell, and it's an illegal overtake on Perez for some reason. I don't really understand how that was an illegal overtake, at least on Perez. I understand the warning on Russell, but that was not an illegal overtake on Perez, and obviously now we're not going to be able to catch up to Perez. We can say goodbye now. I was hoping we could get in front of him on that first corner and then just hold him behind and get our first podium, but P4 looks like it's going to be our best bet here. Obviously, we now have to change our driving style just a little bit, and we're lucky we're on the softs as well, because it makes it just a little easier. And we need to compensate for the missing front wing piece. That I swear it's made of cardboard. I absolutely swear it is made of cardboard. That thing flies off so easily. But yeah, De Vries is behind us. Hamilton is getting held up by De Vries. Of course, there's other people nearby as well. So if we hold up De Vries enough for De Vries to hold up Hamilton enough, Hamilton can lose positions, which gives us an even better chance at keeping P4. And we are actually stretching further away from Nick De Vries, and that is mainly because of our soft tyre compound there. As we skip ahead to lap 10, and Oscar Piastri has actually overtaken Lewis Hamilton. So this is great news for us. This is absolutely amazing news for us, because P4 is within our grasp. If we don't make any more big mistakes, we have gotten a genuine P4. Big points. I think we actually finished the sponsor clause for Indovu. I think we only had to gain like 6 Constructors' Championship points, but we're going to get way more than that. So that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy what we've managed to accomplish there. I cannot, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but honestly, as things, the way things are going, this is looking absolutely incredible. You know, even with the missing front wing piece, we are still quick enough to keep Nick De Vries behind us. It's like, obviously, we really struggle on Sector 1, and Nick De Vries does get very close to us, particularly on this corner right here. He tries to go down the inside, very risky there, and we squeeze him out so much that he has to brake really early, and Oscar Piastri actually ends up overtaking him. It's insane. Lap 11, P4, with the cars behind us a second behind, but obviously they end up catching up because of how slow we are in Sector 1, and Hamilton is now in our rear view. He has overtaken Nick De Vries. He has overtaken Oscar Piastri. He's going to try and overtake us. Oscar Piastri is also going to try and do the same. It's almost 3 wide going into this corner here. And somehow, someway, even though we were sandwiched, almost sandwiched, between the two of them, we have come out on top going into the Mickey Mouse chicane right here. This is absolutely amazing. I cannot believe what we have done here. We only have 1 lap to go. 1 lap to do the same thing as what we've been doing for over half the race at this point. As Lewis Hamilton now, I mean, he's just so powerful there. That Mercedes engine is going to be so much more powerful than us. And we're going to dive there. Big, massive dive bomb. And it actually works. No penalty. It was almost as clean as you like. There was a little bit of contact, but I bet it was something like wheel to wheel. Very aggressive Verstappen like overtake, but we managed to keep it there. Very good. Speaking of Verstappen, God knows where he is. I think he might be somewhere close there. I wonder how he took advantage of the safety car, or if he did at all. I don't know. I don't know if he's anywhere near us or still at the back of the grid, but at least that's someone we don't have to worry about, obviously. as Lewis Hamilton is definitely someone we need to worry about, and we're going to slowly just heave the car to try and cover off that inside, because obviously Nick De Vries almost overtook us earlier. If he'd have carried on with it, I think he would have gotten it. We did squeeze him a lot, but I think he still would have gotten through with it. And for some reason, Hamilton isn't really overtaking us at this part. I think it's because he was trying to get a lot of a slipstream to make it easier, but yeah, he just didn't get it there. And obviously we've stayed in front once again, going into the Mickey Mouse chicane for the last time, the final time, as we go onto this big straight. And we're almost half a second ahead of Hamilton. We actually did that Mickey Mouse chicane really well, which is strange considering we have a bit of a broken front wing. But George Russell in the Mercedes takes the win here at Miami. Hamilton is really coming up on our rear view mirror very fast, and we're not able to cover off the inside that much. Hamilton is very close there, but we managed to get a good exit, and we have taken P4 this early on in the career mode with the worst car on the grid. We got a Renault engine, by the way. Like, we are the slowest on the grid other than AlphaTauri. And speaking of AlphaTauri, somehow Nick De Vries got driver of the day. I don't know how we didn't. We gained a whole 12 positions, but maybe De Vries gained more. But yeah, George Russell takes the win, but the story of the day is us taking P4.
How did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
So after a magnificent race, we can now see the drivers making their way to the podium. Once again, it's the Silver Arrows who take the top spot, a well-earned victory for Mercedes.
Well, who knows what could have happened if we didn't crash into the back of Sergio Perez and knocked off that little bit of the wing. But I'm not gonna, you know, stick too much on what ifs when we literally just got a P4 in, at the very least, the second worst car on the grid. How does Nick De Vries... Oh, yes, Nick De Vries did start 2 positions behind us. Felipe Drugovich actually got a P13, so that's very good for him right there. That would probably make him move up in the standings a little bit, of course. We move up to a P8, just 2 points behind Fernando Alonso. Valtteri Bottas finishes almost last. Max Verstappen 19th. It's crazy. Like, this race was insane. Oscar Piastri got 6th. De Vries got 7th. Yuki Tsunoda flying high with P9. Charles Leclerc, Russell and Perez. That's a very weird looking podium, but yeah, that is it for the Miami Grand Prix, and that is it for this episode of F123 My Team. If you liked it, hit that like button as hard as you possibly can, and I hope you enjoy the highlights. I'll see you next time for the Imola Grand Prix. Another new track that I haven't tried yet. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be a different one. Cheers for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Peace!